Hey guys, so this video you're going to see the sales numbers of the cards that I purchased in the first video, and then I'll show you the actual sales themselves. But first, just going through the spreadsheet, and this shows you the card on the left column and then what I paid for it, and then in some cases shipping, whether that was accounted for separately. And eventually I just started having that in the order total instead of having the shipping separate, and then what I made net after fees. So you can see on the third column is what I actually received, so it's not the eBay sale or what the card sold for, but it's just what I received after fees and everything. And then the last column is the profit or loss in some cases. And I did lose money in some cases and like pretty often or whatever. But so let's look through these. Hoops Tribute Base, $2 profit. Hoops Base, regular Hoops Base, $2 profit. Prism Base, $1. Prism Base, $1. Lost $1 on arriving now. Lost 50 cents. Brilliance, made 50 cents on a Prism Base. Basically broke even on stuff, made $5 on one Prism Base, and broke even, made $1 on a Hoops card, broke even, made $1, made 50 cents, made $3.85 on the Prism Base variation. A Purple Wave made $2.41, broke even, made $2 on a throw-in card. That was just something that the seller gave me out of a lot that I bought, and then made $6.81 on this one Prism Base card. And what happened with the ones that I made good money on? The ones that sold close to $20, which was my plan initially. So I made $18.95 after fees on that one that I made $6.81 on. I made 20, so received 20.78, made $5 on that one. So that was the thinking initially, was that I would be getting the cards for $12 or less. So the average of what I paid for all of the Prism Base cards that I wound up purchasing in total was $12.14. Total average, like with shipping and everything. And the thinking was that I would be trying to sell these for $20 or whatever, and so that would be worth my while. So that was the idea going in. But then, as you can see, some of these cards, I don't know if these were just auction or what, but they sold for even less than what I paid for it in some cases. And then with the Hoops cards too, same thing. Like, I don't know if some of those were selling on auction or what, but they were going for not that much more than what I was paying for them. Then continuing down in the spreadsheet, you can see I was selling some stuff on Mercari, and then I eventually stopped doing that because I shipped one card on Mercari that got lost in the mail, and Mercari refunded the buyer, but they didn't have a shipping insurance. They say they have shipping insurance. They tell you that you're protected, but then when the card actually gets lost in the mail and I say, hey, where's my shipping insurance? They say, oh, well, it has to be scanned, blah, blah. But cards that you ship for $20 or less, they don't get scanned. So I wasn't able to get my money back, so I took all my cards off of Mercari, stopped selling on there, not selling on there anymore. But you can see some of these, if you look at the listings on the left, you see Mercari. But then you can look at the profits on these, $15 on the Gravity. I think I wound up having one or two of those, and they did pretty well. So that was like a good profit, $15 on that card. $8 for the Ignition insert. Fearless, that was an insert. Prism Base auction that did well on auction. I made $4. Another Prism Base auction that did well, and I got $3. $16 I got on the Tribute Blue. And then going down, you can start to see some losses. So Prism Base eBay auction loss, Prism Green loss, made $10 on an ignition card, made $10 on a lot. So then I started getting sick of dealing with the individual cards and started lotting them up. So the Attack Hollow card that was from that lot that I bought was a card that, based on 130 point comps, it should have sold for more than that. I lost money on that. And then there was an issue with the mail, and the buyer eventually bought it, but we went back and forth. I had to deal with that, and he was willing to wait a little longer. It eventually arrived, but that was annoying. So I made lots, that dozen Prism lot, and I made $8 on that. So instead of having to ship these cards individually, where I was sometimes losing money, whatever, I just was like, you know what, I'm tired of dealing with these cards where I'm like, sometimes I'm losing money. It's so frustrating. Like the Prism Base that would sell, one of them would sell for 18, and then one of them would sell for 6 or 7. It made no sense. And I think with the eBay algorithm, they were suppressing some of the cards because it was the same seller, same card or whatever, so it wouldn't show up in search results. And then all of a sudden the auction would end, and then all of a sudden my next auction would show up with like a half an hour left, and there's no views. No one had ever seen the auction, so it's 99 cents. So those cards were selling for nothing. And then you can see there, I just took a bunch of losses on the Prism Base. $5, $8, $8. So I'm losing $6, losing $3, losing $3. And I was just like, man, this is just, what is going on with this? So I just started putting them, and as lots, they would sell. It was like crazy. So I made money on the 6 hoop slot. I made money on the lot of 13. I made $12 on the PSA 9 Allen and Ginter card. And then I made close to 15 on the Red Ice. And then the Ginter Hot Box, I showed the lot, the 2 card lot that I got from DC Sports 87. Sold one of those, so I made $25.71 on that one. And then I still have the second one to sell. And then this is the ones that I've been buying here. I don't have sales for because I haven't received some of these yet. But the Prism Base, that's not the draft, the regular Prism Base, paid 36, sold it for 82. So I made 46 on that one card. So that was the most profits I made on a single card. So I've stopped buying the cheaper, the draft and the hoops and all that, and I feel like that was really taking up a lot of time, and also is frustrating with the auction results. The ComC ones didn't do well. That Red Ice I made 14, but like this draft card sold for 90. I sold a 2 card lot more recently. Sold this one for 18. 6 card lot for 90. That was okay, but that was when I was just tired of selling these individually and frustrated with the results that I was getting, and it was just so time consuming. The silver was from a lot. I think I wound up doing well with that. The Red Ice, I feel like there were some cancellations there. I'm not sure if both of those sales went through. I think I might have had like 3 or 4 total of these. So this one sold for 56. The other one sold for 90, which is weird. It's the same card. This one sold, I can't believe these 2 sold for $12.50. Like, that makes 0 sense, and it's just very frustrating when you're spend so much time to like get the cards, receive them, take pictures of them, list them, whatever, and then you get some disappointing result like that on an auction, and you're just like losing money. So it's just really I really kind of got tired of doing that with all the little cards, and I'm still getting Wembanyama, but like that last one that I made $46 on one card, I'm trying to do more cards like that rather than the higher volume of the lower cards that I'm kind of like was losing money on or breaking even or making $1 or making $2, making $3, making $4, whatever. Even this Allen and Ginter on ComC, I think I paid 10 something and it sold for $6 at auction. That's just like super frustrating. But then with the lots, I was like, let me just put these in lots and buy it now, and then those would get offers. I would take offers, whatever, and those sold like pretty quickly actually. Once I put them into lots, and in some cases I was getting more per card by putting them in as a lot, and then I didn't have to ship 12 individual cards. I could just make one package and send it. That DeVito was funny because it went through authenticity guarantee even though it was under $20, and then it got lost in the mail, and then eBay refunded the buyer, and then it eventually arrived and they sent it back to me. It's like but this the Randy Moss, I wound up doing pretty well on that one. That was a good flip. I think I paid like $250 and it eventually sold for $315. But even after fees and stuff, I probably made like $30 on that. The Brilliant sold for $3. Like, that's just really frustrating. But when you have such a high volume of these little cards, it's like some of them are gonna sell for really random prices, and people are gonna get good buys, and it's annoying. But yeah, I got refunded on the red ice. I guess the guy never shipped it. There was some of that stuff going on too. Yeah, I think this guy is probably making a killing, whatever he's doing. He sold 144 of these. That's insane. It's like, there's definitely money to be made on that. This guy never sent me the card, and I sold it, and then I had to refund it, and I lost the money for the shipping label. And that was just a nightmare, so I definitely learned my lesson from that. Yeah, I just never received that one red ice card. So there were a lot of issues doing so much volume with the Wembanyama cards. Buyers that didn't get their cards, or they were like being impatient. They got their cards eventually, but I had to deal with that. And then sellers that canceled the sale, or they said they shipped the card but they never shipped. There was no tracking, and then I never got the card. So like having to deal with that, having to deal with eBay, and yeah, like if you're gonna do a lot of volume and just like buy like 100 Victor Wembanyama cards and then like list them all or whatever, it's just gonna take a lot of time. So I'm not sure if it was really worth it. I think it's a good idea. Like you can find so this guy pulled a classic, but he said that he used his butt cheeks by accident to purchase the card, and then he wanted to cancel. So it's like you have to deal with that, then you have to cancel the sale, then you have to relist the card, and it's just like kind of like a lot of work. But in theory, you could go and find these cards are selling at such a high volume that like in theory you could go, even from the cards that I sold myself, you could buy those ones that are selling at the low end, like the really 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 low end. Buy as many of those as you can, the cheapest ones that are going like super cheap or whatever, and then sell those, but like maybe sell them as lots or sell them as buy it now. But the auction was like super disappointing a lot of times. I don't know that there were any auctions that I was like, oh wow, that was a great price in the auction. Most of the time it was the opposite. But even like recently, the recent purchases, when I saw that I sold that base prism for 90, I was like, well man, I think I can get that card for like $60-$70. So let me see if I can get a few more. So I got a handful more of those, and I'll be listing those for $100 best offer, and then I'll accept 90 for those, and hopefully I'll be able to make like 10, 15, 20 bucks on per card on those. And yeah, so I think by shifting the focus to more expensive Wembanyama cards, hopefully I'll be able to use the experience of this and not be spending time with the lower cards, especially when you have to spend so much time shipping and dealing with kind of like the customer service part of it. But if I can find like a more expensive card and buy it and then have it sent to Alt or whatever, and then, you know, sell it through there, and clear some money like I did with the Allen and Ginter one that I bought for 30 something and had it sent to Alt, and then it sold for like 50, 60 or whatever. I got 50 out of it, so I made 10 or 15 bucks on that card, and I didn't have to deal with it. I didn't have to ship it. I didn't have to go back and forth with the tracking with the customer. I didn't have to cancel and relist it and accept an offer and then get it canceled and have to relist it. So that's kind of the takeaway with the Wembanyama. Made some money, made good money on some stuff, lost money on stuff, but the main takeaway is like not worth it to deal with like the smaller cards, and just trying to focus on the bigger cards. Like you can make 30 bucks, 40 bucks on a card, like that's pretty great. Even 10 or 20 bucks. If you can make 10 or 20 bucks on a card, like that's not bad. But if you're doing this, and even if I was doing that and making $1, making $2, whatever, like, is it worth it? Because you have to order it, receive it, open it, like make sure the card's okay. Like you might have to do a refund, you might have to do a return, and then you have to deal with that. Taking pictures, listing it, taking offers, dealing with cancellations, dealing with stuff getting lost. And yeah, I don't think that that's really worth it for $1, $2, especially if you're losing money, losing $4, losing $5. It's like, yeah, that was like really annoying. So yeah, hopefully I was able to find a way to make money and focus on the cards that I'm making money on. And as you could see, I did find some ways to make some money like on those bigger cards more recently. But yeah, that's my takeaway from the Victor Wembanyama experiment. And the next thing that I'll have is the NFL draft thing and the Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He's the new Dodgers pitcher from Japan, and I bought a bunch of his stuff. So, and some of it is bigger stuff. Some of it is like lots of smaller stuff, but got like some PSA 10 rookies, some refractors, some serial numbered cards and stuff like that. So I'll do a video on that, and fingers crossed, hopefully I can do well on those as the baseball season gets started soon. So stay tuned for that video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.